Yeah, that's legit. What's up,
Unreal.
G? How was the gym this morning?
Hey, gym was great, brother.
Did you
I'm,
did you
I'm
just
get-
now quit working out since
I
3 a.m. or
I did,
He
I
does six
did.
workouts a morning.
because
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that you come home too and do Rachel's wifey
wifey
workout.
Wednesdays. Half the time I'm shooting them though, I'll tell you that.
Dude,
So
so her shit, she's ready for a triathlon, man.
she's doing pretty good, man. I'll tell you, she's really, she was kind of bashful for forever, but she's coming into her own a little bit.
Dude, the
Don't
whole
say she's
Gregory
coming out of her
family's
shell,
killing it on
man.
social media.
Hey, my little man, AG's for real killing it.
Dude, that's like probably my favorite thing to watch, man.
He's doing great, man. It's look, you know what? I think it's cool because Zach, as you know, and Jay from your dad building houses, like you do what your parents do, or you see that, and
Mhm.
he sees what I do. So, and I've seen so many recently, like Gary Vee just had a guy on that was 19 years old from Cleveland that's just crushing it, and I mean,
I seen
this
that
is
guy.
what he does, man. You know what I mean? So
So
I
I think
think
it's
it's
real
key.
cool because like you said, when we grew up, all we seen was like coal mining or steel mills and stuff. And now your son's like, oh shit, like this is a way to, live a life. Like he sees obviously how happy you are every single day.
Absolutely. And like he's even grabbing a camera like, Dad, let me, in the summertime, Dad, I'll come to the gym and shoot the stuff for you and help you edit it. Like he's 11.
Yeah,
It's
he's
fucking,
balling.
dude,
I bet
that's
that's really
awesome.
cool for you to see because
That probably got to be
obviously,
the coolest feeling, dude.
yeah.
Trumps everything.
I mean,
That has to
that's what
trump everything.
that's what you always talk about. It is one of your biggest purposes is to change everything for future generations, right? So that's starting to happen now.
Already. And it's real because what I notice is definitely my kid because the swag that he got naturally is just there. Like he doesn't it's ever since I've turned the camera on him one time,
Dude,
he
he's
gets
so
it.
natural in front of it. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like
He's like,
his thing is though, like we're vlogging. I'm pretty sure AG is going to be in a movie.
yeah,
Like
he
you're
might be.
talking real money. We're talking, yeah, we're doing vlogs for YouTube. He's like,
Well,
come
imagine
on,
where he's
man,
going to be at
I'm
in 5 years
Brad Pitt.
because all of us 5 years ago weren't, I mean, maybe Cory more so, but Zach and I 5 years ago when we were younger in that age, I guess 10 years ago, weren't doing anything like this. So he's getting such an early start with it.
He takes it serious by 18, he'll be a real influencer.
Oh,
That's
no
it.
Oh,
doubt.
Dude, the guy
dude,
from Reebok already was like, Cory, like we might fool around and end up having to start sending your son stuff because he's getting influence on these little kids.
Yeah.
I mean, on the
yeah,
real. It's
for
just
real.
it's fun. It's funny to say that, but I tried to, without putting too much pressure on him. I'm like, just be consistent. As we all know, that's the key. Every one of us understand that. And I told him, I've been telling Jay this too. I'm like, Jay, I'm about to be a YouTube star. So Alex motivated me,
Yeah.
to be honest, because I'm watching him shoot and produce these little videos with his friends for Bro Perfect, he calls himself. And we went on
Wow.
Fiverr the other day and created him a logo. And, it was $11 for the logo. I had him pay me $5 of it, to put towards it. And
That's cool.
then
That's
I saw
awesome.
him chopping up video till midnight one night. I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing? I can do this, even though I'm not that good at iMovie yet, but I'm learning. And until I get Jake Saunders after he's out of football, I'm gonna have Jake help me. But for now, yeah, I say F it, let's go.
For
Dude, I think
sure.
the vlog thing's huge for you too, G. I was like, steadily waiting on you to do that because this is a different way, for your members on your site. Obviously, you have like the specific things for them, but you're missing out on a huge demographic of people from YouTube. Obviously, billions of users.
Agreed.
Now that you vlog, you're able to because vlogging's big right now. That's like the number one
It
thing.
is
All
big.
these like Christian Guzman, all these guys are vlogging rather. So
I mean,
it's
that's how
like
Gary Vee got
you can
famous,
crush
right?
Yeah, and I got a lot. I mean, dude, we all do a lot of cool stuff, and I really think I can highlight a lot of those things, not just the daily grind stuff, but also like I get to do a lot of neat things. I'm around a lot of cool people, and I just need to have this thing attached to me. And I think there has to be a little, like you said, Zach, a little separation between like the site is so technical and workouts and tons of
Mhm.
programs and development and all that, and then I think it's cool to show a little bit more just lifestyle stuff to just everybody,
That's what people
So I'm
want to
trying to
see.
find, yeah, I'm trying to find that middle ground, which I feel like I'm finding a little bit of it right now, and it's fun. And to be quite honest, I've said this multiple times. When Chris Moore died from Barbell Shrug, his kids only know him from his content. Like they're 4 and 3 years old. They're not going to know
Mhm.
how their dad was because they're not going to remember it.
Yep.
But they can watch 200 episodes of Barbell Shrug.
Isn't that an
Well,
And
interesting
honestly,
concept that like future generations, obviously like our parents, we can't go back and watch videos of them, but down the road, this shit's going to live forever. It's on the internet. So our kids are going to
forever.
see us and this all this is going to be recorded and documented.
So for me, I think that threw me into a whole nother category of drive for content, although I was already driven. Once I kind of understood about what Chris's, whole family will look to him, read his books, watch his videos. I mean, the same thing could go for me. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it. That's a really cool way to look at it too, especially since, one of your driving purposes is, to influence generations to come. Like, hey, the way I look at it, what did your dad do? Oh, he was a coal miner. Oh, he's a roofer. What's your dad do? Check him out on YouTube. You know what I mean? How much cooler is that?
Yeah, Alex was like, Dad, I want people to come up to me and say nice things like they say to you. I said, well, you start doing it now, and that's how you become influential. I mean, that's just, it's funny because it's what we do, so it's kind of normal, I guess you could say, but it's not normal, right?
For
and
sure.
so it's kind of it's unique, and now it's like just making sure that we mold him especially properly as he gets older, and so he ain't feeling himself too much,
That'll be an interesting concept, or an interesting thing to handle, right? Because obviously a lot of guys, when they get famous early, obviously high level like actors, it kind of seems to ruin people in a sense. A lot of people can't handle the success and the fame at such an early age because really don't have a baseline. Because if you get famous when you're 30, you've already lived 30 years of a normal life, or at least 12 years since you were 18, got out on your own.
Sure.
But when you get famous at 10, 12, 14, you have no baseline, so that's all you know.
No, well, and that's the thing, like, what I've been trying to kind of keep real with him is that, this could be what you do for your life, but also not everybody's guaranteed they're going to blow up. I mean, that's just part of it. So you have a really good head start. I mean, he has 7,000 fans on Musical.ly, and this other app's kind of poached him over, and he's got some cool things going on. And obviously he can piggyback off me a little bit. But, what I like about Alex so far is he's really doing his own thing. Like, he has a passion for what he's shooting, the trick shot things. He loves Roman Atwood. He loves watching Dude Perfect. So he really got his own kind of thing, and he's got his own swag to him, and I think it's just fun. And what I love about Alex is, and he's just really confident in himself. He doesn't care about the people that are saying stuff on the channel. Like, I told him, get ready in your school, get ready on YouTube. Like, people are going to come out of the woodwork. He have little kids come on there and hate 2 times on the same video, and there's only 3 comments. Like, you're buying your likes, you're not even that cool. And I try to get him ready for that. I'm like, look, Dad had a hard time with this because I was always so nice to people, and then when people start hating on me for no reason, I had a problem with that a little bit. Where him out the gate, I was like, just get ready, because that's just the way it is. Anytime you separate yourself, and so these are a lot of good lessons, man, at a young age.
For sure.
So does he handle it well?
Yeah, real well. He doesn't even stress it at all. He honestly don't even sweat it. It's interesting because his skin seems to be a hair thicker than mine was naturally. And I don't know if that's just because of how he's seen me operate or things he's heard me talk about, but he really don't care. You can tell he's got his own. I mean, he wears 2 different color shoes to school every day. So he really don't care.
That's awesome.
He wears Reeboks, but they're 2 different shoes.
Sure.
Like, he decided that's his style.
That's fucking epic, dude. That is literally like the coolest shit I've heard all week.
That is
and
hilarious.
That's really cool. Like you said, G, I had the same issue. I had the hardest time, like, whenever people hate on me. And I've gotten a lot better with it, obviously, as the months and the years pass. But I've just always been so cool to everybody that if someone hates on me, like, they can't know me. Because if you've ever met me, I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'll give you my time and my effort. So it's whenever people hate on me, I'm just really, like, mind-boggled. Like, what would cause you? And then that's when I realized it's not me they're hating on. They're mad at themselves.
It's their own. It's their own insecurity. So here's a good example. I won't you guys use the guy's name, but he sent me a pretty shitty message on Snapchat 2 days ago, and I answered it back very professionally. And he actually hit me this morning and apologized and said it was really about him. He's mad that he hasn't taken the chance to try to, like, live his dream. He's eating terrible and basically had a few drinks, and he decided he wanted to lash out at me.
That's how it works, right?
So, yeah, that's how most of the time it works. And you know what I said back to him? Bro, cool. You know what? I'm glad you said that. We can squash it and join the freaking website, and I'll help you get better. Like, I mean, really, I knew it wasn't about me. It's hard not to take it in, though, originally, but I knew it wasn't about me, and I try to live so many positive aspects of my life that I don't get it all right all the time. But when people lash out like that, I try not to take it in. It's hard, but most of the time it's their own insecurities showing.
Yeah, it is hard, especially whenever you're like at the end of the day, like you're still a man.
Generally nice guy, and I'm a guy, and I don't like people talking shit to me.
Yeah,
Of course. It takes a special kind of person to go on to Instagram and comment on someone's picture and just bash them. You know what I mean? Like someone they've never met. Like it's very interesting.
I think it's hard for us to fathom it because we just don't understand it.
None of my friends are out there doing that. At least I don't have any knowledge of them doing that because they're not my friend if they're doing that kind of shit, right?
But then, like me and G talk, like a lot of people you thought was your friends, like when I left back home, like people I thought were my homies, or even like not so much homies because I still have my core homies, but there's a couple people I'm like I thought for sure would support me, and now it's like they're hating on me when I'm trying to do as much as I can to give. You know, I'm always my gym's Iron Valley Barbell, named after the valley. Like that's how much pride I have of where I'm from.
Sure. Well, it's human nature. I realized it a long time ago. I don't like it, but I realized that the funny thing is with Jay, back to your point on Instagram, I get shit from my wife because I don't like any of her videos.
Dude,
let alone do I have, hey,
that's how women are.
I go hate on somebody else's. Like, so Men's Health, actually, little name drop, Men's Health posted my little medley I did with jump lunges and stuff with 95 pounds yesterday. And I was reading those comments this morning. Dude, there was guys hating all over the place. I'm reading like this dude like said now he's going to rip his meniscus next set. And some guy said this. Most of the time what happens is people don't work that hard. Somebody is working hard. And they feel like they need to hate.
Well,
that's
exactly how it goes. I feel like if things are going well for you and you're not doing the things that you know you should be doing or you know that you're capable of, you're going to hate on people that are actually doing that and overcoming their fears and so forth. So, I mean, I think that's the root of it, but it's a very interesting concept. So we're 11 and a half minutes deep here. Obviously, the show's already started, but we have a couple structured questions for you to kind of try to extract some information from you that I think can really benefit some of our listeners. So, Zach, what episode are we on? 18?
Welcome to episode 18 of the Young and Hungry FireCast with my homeboy J_Azeltine.
What up?
And you guys might know this guy, Cory Gregory. What's up, G?
Mic check. What's up?
He legit got a mic. Like he looks like he got his Biggie shirt on and a mic. He's about to rap for us.
Next level.
I'm out here ripping the mic. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
For sure, man. So you guys been hearing the conversation, everything. So Jay has a few questions. We were talking a little bit about, leaving a legacy for your kids and the generations of Gregorys to come, and you're already seeing that now. So something we really talk about is the North Star. Mm-hmm. So when you wake up in the morning, what's the very first thing on your mind? What's your true driving passion to get your ass out of bed at the middle of the night, not even the morning. You wake up in the middle of the night and to keep you running, not only from 3 o'clock till 9, 10, like we were on the phone the other day talking about it. When it gets 12, 1, 2 o'clock, and after you eat, you get some carbs in you, you start getting tired. What gets you going again? What keeps you driving all the way till 7, 8 at night?
And to follow up with that also real quick, because we had a second part of that question, I think this can really benefit a lot of people is after you touch on what your actual driving purpose is and your North Star and whatever you want to call it, there's a ton of different things that people call it these days. How did you come up with that? When was it and how did you come up with that? Because a lot of our listeners are young guys, and Zach and I, again, talk about the vision and the North Star all the time, and a lot of guys don't have one, and they have no idea where to start. So kind of discuss that as well.
Yeah, so I think I'll start with what you said, Jay, and I'll roll into kind of hit on what Zach just mentioned. I think I talk about it in my book, The Mindset Manual, that a couple big occurrences kind of happened when I was a kid. I think I was probably 11 or 12, somewhere in there, and we had heater oil back home. Some of the actual Zach's laughing. Some of the actual furnaces had heater oil, so they would like BP would literally roll up to your house and fill it up almost like gasoline, right? And ours was super dry. Mom didn't have no cash, and we were heating the house with the oven open. And I remember literally coming into the kitchen area, and my sister was like up against the wall with like her shirt over, like cold, and I'm thinking like, and it didn't really click because you don't really know when you're that young, right? I mean, Alex would now at this point, but I think I was way more clueless. And so I remember kind of huddling up and the oven being open. I can see it plain as day, like just the actual coils are hot, like heating the kitchen. And then somebody anonymously paid actually for our heater oil like a week later, which was cool. And so that was one thing, and I just took a lot of value in that because I was like, all right, like this is kind of fucked up, but I didn't really process it right. Then I would say probably a year later, we got kicked out of that place. Well, my mom doesn't like me to say kicked out. I would say we had to move. That was
you were asked to
one
leave.
of the we were asked to leave. That's one of the changes. That's the only change my mom had me say in the book. She was like, I would like for you not to say kicked out. I'd like for you to say that we had to leave. So I changed that verbiage, but it was more like we couldn't pay the rent. I remember this guy who became a multimillionaire that I looked up to as a kid, who he never even really knew I looked up to him, but he was the biggest boss I knew about. He came and, politely asked my mom that she had to move, and I just remember her crying. And then the last one was coming home and seeing her W-2 being nosy one day when I was like 15 in my trailer, and she had only made like, I don't know, 8,000 or 12,000 for the year. And I was just like, how the fuck are we living on this? And so that was the first thing where I was like, all right, so, like somebody's got to say, and she was doing her best, but somebody's got to say like, this is going to be on me. And I think that when you make it bigger than just you, just wanting to be a fitness guy, just want to do this, like I was like, this is me. I'm going to take it on. And that became so big for me that I rely, and I still do rely on that for everything. Because when it's so much bigger than you, and seeing Alex and Madeline and all of them as they're growing up, and Andon knowing how different their life will be, but was still the influence of what I grew up around. And then to think what their kids potentially could be set up for because of what I'm doing in this very moment in time, man, that's really what moves the needle. I want to create a legacy that's similar. Like obviously I look up to Arnold because he was always kind of like a huge icon for me. Bill Phillips was huge for me, but the guy I probably honestly resonate with the most of what he's still doing on a regular basis is probably Louis Simmons, because though he's 70, he's still teaching, he's influential everywhere along the world. Obviously, I'm not going to be known for what he's known for, but if I look up to somebody on a daily basis of how they operate, what their values are in the gym, how they teach and how they motivate, obviously I'm going to be much different than Lou because he's just his own animal. But that's the legacy, because I really want to be known. I always talk to Zach all the time about this. Zach's obviously a world record holder. Like I'm not breaking any world records as a specialist, but I want to be known as a real lifter and an all-around just fucking grinder that taught so many things outside of it. And so it's a legacy play for me. It's the next 2 generations, if possible, if not 3. And my family will never be the same. I mean, that's just, and they're not. The way they operate, the way everybody operates, they'll never be the same. And even when I got with my wife, Rachel, originally, like her parents didn't understand it. I don't even think my parents understood it. They just didn't know where it came from. But I told them I wouldn't change anything for the world. I'm glad that what happened. There was no, I always tell Maurice when I talk to him, there was really no crime that came along with it. My parents weren't wrapped up in drugs. They did go bankrupt once. There wasn't a lot of crime around no domestic violence. We was just struggling. And it was a money thing. And it was a financial IQ thing a lot of times. And I was just really poised and wanted to change that. That was huge for me.
And that's really often. I mean, you see that often back home, man. Just the area we're from, it's very, deprived, and the economy's bad. And it's been like that for a lot of years, especially when the mills, started to close down and stuff. So you see that, more than likely your neighbors could be dealing with the same issues you were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can use that as an advantage, right? Like growing up like that, you can use that to your advantage because there's a lot of there's a lot of kids that grow up super rich and then that's all they know, and like they have no hunger or drive to do anything, and they end up broke on their ass or just living off their parents' money. So for you, use it as an advantage.
I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I've told Zach this before, because he's a coal miner too, that I knew when I was shoveling that belt line that no one was going to have this story until Zach Holm will come around, right? I didn't know Zach because he's younger than me. So I just knew that when I moved here in 1999, 2000, that I wasn't going to run into a personal trainer coal miner. That was way before Zoolander existed. You know what I mean? So I just knew that wasn't going to happen. And so unique. I knew that I was going to be unique. And so that's what I thought about every day as I was making $14 an hour shoveling that coal. I'm like, just get the fuck up out of here. No one's going to have what you have. And I just realized, like, working with real men underground, that I learned a lot about myself, and that I knew if I can put that many hours in for that, for $14 an hour plus overtime, then I could definitely put that many hours in for personal training at $20 an hour, standing upright in the middle of Columbus somewhere. You know what I mean?
So what pushed you? What was your main, like, because I know, making that type of money, you were fucking working like 90 hours a week, but you made some really good money. Yeah. What legit pushed you? Because even me, whenever you gave me the job with Muscle Farm, like till the last day, like it was still in my head, like, is this the right move? Like I physically had to drag myself out to the U-Haul and move myself out. Like it was still like there was something pulling me back. It was still like, even though I wanted it more and I wanted to breathe, like, dude, that's a leap. Like, especially moving.
Security.
Yeah, you got.
Security pulls you in, Zach. Even when I leaped from leaving Muscle Farm, I'm walking away from a paycheck that's pretty significant. That generations before me combined hadn't probably made in a year. So it's like, I think that I just knew I was wired so different. I will tell you I'm wired the same when it comes to the work. So that was easy for me. Not easy, but it was natural, I guess you could say. But I knew I was wired for what I wanted so different. And I refused. I remember it like it was yesterday. I went to the mine and we were doing recovery work in one of the sections. We were like doing a seal.
Which is hard fucking work for those who don't know. That's hard work.
Yeah, recovery. So like, we're sealing up a section, meaning like closing it off, building walls, taking pipe out. And I just remember I was working with this dude that was lazy as shit. He was the guy who ran the mine, his kid. And I was doing all his freaking work. And it was breaking my back. And I was like, you know what? Man, fuck this. I mean, I came upstairs. I told my stepdad, I'm going to starve as a personal trainer before I do this anymore. Because at that point in that second, I hated it. Like, really hated it. And I liked the experience. I enjoyed, like, getting to do that so I could say what other generations of my family had done. But I needed that one little tipping point to go, time to burn the bridge. I got enough cash. It's time to go. And I basically refuse to be – I'm like a brat, I always say about this. I refuse to be unhappy. Like, there's these people that are in these relationships for 15, 20 years that are happy. Not me, buddy.
Zach and I talked about that on the last show. Like, people, I think at a certain point, people think that's normal. And just because they see so many miserable people around, you go and work your 9-to-5 job, you hate it, you go home, you and your wife fight, you got kids that you're taking care of that you really don't want to be taken care of probably. And your life's just a shit show, but you just think it's normal and it just becomes the everyday norm. So you just kind of put up with it.
Yeah, I'm not willing to do that. So no matter, and I've had times of that in my fitness career when I did 8 years into personal training, I didn't like it anymore. Yep. So I had to do it for an extra year and then I was done. 8 years into Muscle Farm. I didn't like it anymore. Had to reinvent myself. I've been in the game damn near 19, 20 years now. So it's like, and this is where, as a true entrepreneur, that I just am not willing to sacrifice I'm already so in life and working so many hours, like to hate it on top of it's not for me. I mean, it's just not for me. And I've already accomplished enough and made enough money where I just don't have to do that anymore. And I just won't.
It seems like you're always stepping out of your comfort zone as well. Like, I feel like that's a really big thing, man, is people are so afraid to step out of the comfort zone, whether it be public speaking, getting on it. Like for me, man, like I would have never envisioned myself being on a podcast because I hated even speaking on the phone to people like a few years back. And now Zach and I do a podcast each week. So I think it's really big for people to get out of their comfort zone. Like for you leaving Muscle Farm, you were getting out of your comfort zone. Yeah. All these different things that you're doing, you're continuing to get out of your comfort zone.
All three of us left and all three of us are better.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, literally all three of us.
But,
so that's the biggest thing I get though from people. They're always asking me, what was the one reason that, like, what truly pushed you? And the only thing I could really say is it just took balls. Like, you just had to have balls. Like, at the end of the day, I had an exit strategy and I had a few bucks saved up, but nothing was set in stone. I moved out here to fucking Indianapolis. I lived in the hood. And I lost my job 9 months later. So it's just like, now I have no job. So I get on the phone with Cory. I'm like, I got no job, just looking for guidance. He's like, it's just your time, man. Make it happen. 40 days later, I opened a gym. So it's just like.
But pushed into it sometimes is the best thing, right? Same thing with my first gym. Same thing with your first gym, Zach. I mean,
I feel like I had to lose that job.
Yeah, no question. All of us did.
Yeah.
I mean, within struggle, there's always a blessing on the other side if you can make it through. I mean, here's what's the other option? Just quit?
Yeah, right. Go
just lay down on life. Just quit. I mean, there's no like. I remember one time Rachel and I were doing something, and it was like we were coming home from we were doing something where we had to walk super far, and then we were both tired. And I looked at her, I'm like, this sucks. She's like, well, I guess, like, what do we do? Just lay down and stop? I mean, there's no, I mean, you can't stop. So you have to make the best of it. And hopefully you can grow from it. If you have a positive outlook, you got to make yourself better. Like me, I'm learning iMovie right now because I know that's good for me. It's uncomfortable. I enjoy content, so that's fun. But I mean, you got to keep reinventing yourself because look, if you don't change with the times, you're dead. I mean, that's it.
Do you truly enjoy iMovie, or is it something that you're just forcing yourself to do?
I like it.
I actually enjoy it as well. I like cutting up videos, adding music and stuff as well.
I like it more on the phone than the computer myself.
Oh, no way. No.
I'm getting better at the computer. So what I like is telling the story. And that's what any, I think, good content producer we're storytellers. And so I enjoy because I feel like I got a good story to tell every day.
Oh, especially when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you work out till 11.
I got a long day.
Yeah, drinking nothing but BCAAs.
To bring the driving purpose topic full circle, kind of explain, like, give some advice to some of the listeners on how they can begin to find their purpose and create a vision and so forth, because it's so important.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, like, it was almost, I won't say easy for me to find mine because two things. I wanted nice stuff and I couldn't stand the stress of the struggle on my family. So if you haven't went through something like that, you're going to have to draw from something else. So that might be a little tricky for people, but I would really look at what do you want to do with your life and what can you use when you're tired that makes you still want to do that. And so some people, it's a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to show this guy that, or this person that. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's through struggle that you want to change, like what I want to do. Sometimes it's really just, I mean, you might be from 5 generations of lawyers and you want to be a barber. Well, you could make more as a barber than half the lawyers in your family if you really want to. You could be the most famous barber on the planet. But what's the drive going to be so you can be that guy to show that, so there's things that but it's got to be yours. That's what I think is interesting is like, it's not, who cares what anybody thinks of it. It's so personal that some people might have things that cross, from time to time, but mine is so personal and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks if they don't like it because it's me and they're not going to pay my bills tomorrow at 3 a.m. when I get up.
No doubt.
I think so people are looking for the black and white.
I don't care.
Yeah, I think so many people are looking for like, oh, this Cory did this, but I wasn't dealt with that adversity, so they just kind of act like they almost can't do it or they don't have that push.
Everyone's always looking for excuses.
I think it's you got to draw from some sort of adversity, whether even like you can create your own adversity as well. But like you said, G, if you come from 5 generations of lawyers, you want to be a barber, you're going to be dealt with adversity at home every single day. Like your dad's like, the fuck you doing? Why you want to be a barber? So draw from just some sort of I feel like, in order to have the pleasure, you have to draw from pain. Like you just have to find some sort of pain. Well, I might have got it from 50 Cent, but I ain't quoting him. I ain't gonna give him credit.
but I agree because Gary Vee talks about he likes losing. Look, there was a lot of wins at Muscle Farm, but there's a lot of losses too, and I draw from that all the time. I wouldn't say that I started Max Effort Muscle with our team with a chip on my shoulder about Muscle Farm because it's a whole different deal. But I will say that I'm drawing from the things I believe we did wrong, and we're going to do them right this time. And as the leader of this thing with Fosco and Zach and Dust and Clay and everybody that's involved with this, like I feel like I have a real good hold on what we did wrong and what we did right. And that's why when you get another chance, there's always second chances. You can do things differently. And
which I like that word you use, leader. Like whenever I come to you and we come to you, G, because obviously you're the leader of it. You're not bossing no one. Rather, so you're leading by example. Like if you're waking up at 3 in the morning, you're showing the rest of the crew like, hey, listen, G's working fucking 90 hours a day. You could get your ass up and do the same because you're the leader. You're leading by example, which makes it, it holds us all accountable by your actions.
I try to. I have some faults like everybody else. My organizational skills are lacking from time to time. I've tried to do better, but you want me. I always tell Fosco this, and I feel the same about him, and I've seen him kill it. Like, as the guys that are leading, from the way we order product to the way we do marketing and in putting the things out there. Like, you want us in the boardroom when it's deal time.
Just like the Arnold story, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to put me in.
Put me
like,
in, coach.
You want me on your team. And I feel like for some of the things I might not be good at, I'm really good at the stuff that's going to fucking make us money. And
Yes.
that at the end of the day, and so is John. I mean, I've seen John just beat up in business meetings to get us the best rate for this and the best timing for that, and only expects this. And so, like, that's where I'm not very good at. So our compliment, and Zach, as you grow as a business guy, and as Dustin's grown a ton as a business guy, and the other guys are getting better at content, I think that we're all maturing differently right now. And as we watch this business in particular grow, and it's growing fast, it's going to be really exciting, and we can all continue to learn from everybody. And I don't ever boss anybody. I work together. And Jay knows this from Muscle Farm. Like, there wasn't one door in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was all wide open. It didn't matter whether my salary was X amount more or I started the thing. I sat right beside Jay, and if he had a problem on customer service, I jumped on the phone and handled it.
Exactly. Like, sometimes if no one is around and the phone's ringing, you'd pick it up. I mean, it's very rare that you find a CEO that's going to pick up the customer service line.
Oh, so
dude, Cory's packing products right now. Like, I'm texting him every day. I'm like, dude, you need me in Columbus? You need me to come help? What do you need from me? He's like, I got it, man. It's like he's running you don't even have to start Max Effort Muscle, but yet you're still there and you're literally shipping the product.
I love
what
it,
other
dude.
CEOs
Literally,
doing.
I'm basically signing almost, one of every product, going out telling people thank you. I mean, that it's important to me that they're supporting Max Effort Muscle. It's been great, and and John spent putting this thing together a shitload of time, and I think people are seeing it from the branding, from the way the products work, from the taste of the products. Like, we didn't short anything this way. I mean, I'm real proud of it. We all are.
It's a phenomenal product, dude. It's phenomenal. The BCAs, I just seen you drinking them right now. It's clear.
Yeah.
Like, I love
drink
it.
like 2 gallons a day because I'm working out so much.
Dude, that lemonade is bomb. Like country time.
Yeah,
dude, that's probably been the number one feedback I've gotten through Snapchat and just the guys at the gym. Like, dude, literally, this BCA is like, it's clear. It's so good. It literally tastes like lemonade. I put it in my bottle or my jug, whatever it is. There's no foam at the top. It's that to me, because I drink a ton of BCAs just like you, G. That's my favorite. I mean, plus the fucking you're awake your ass up juice. My PR juice, dude. It lights you up. So it's just phenomenal across the board. I've been taking the fat burner prior to the cut, but it was good. I like everything about the line, and the best thing I like about the line is you buy if as a customer standpoint. You buy a stack, so you get 3 products. You get a free swag item, a T-shirt, a beanie, whatever it is that month. Like, that customer experience, you don't get it nowhere else.
Listen, we're just doing things different. And it was a little struggle when John and I were creating the brand to not be a Muscle Farm ripoff. I'll be honest, because that was my life for 8 years. All in. I'm all in no matter what I do. So it was really tricky. And then some of the inspiration of kind of an older style, and John knew some listen, in the artistic world, the guys that worked on the logo with us, they're rock stars, literally rock stars. They work with Pearl Jam. They work with Foo Fighters. They work with MTV too. Like, we, went to get rock stars to help us create. Yeah, to create this thing. So it's poised to be super special. I think it already is. So
cool. Well, we know
drop it.
We know you're a busy guy, so we got a couple more questions we're going to sneak in.
Let's do it.
Yep. One of them pertains to habits. So it seems like among all highly successful people, they all have very successful habits, positive habits. So what are, I know you and John talk about non-negotiable. So what are 3 non-negotiable habits that you have to basically do every single day?
Yeah,
have those habits changed, G, throughout the years?
Yeah, a little bit. Not a ton, though. I will tell you that once I got locked in, and this is probably almost a decade now, to those early times, and I would say, let's say previous to 7 a.m. working out, that's been a non-negotiable, except for right now on Sundays, I'll let myself sleep in a little bit just because I'm the workload that I'm putting on my body is pretty high. But I would say Monday through Saturday, it's pretty much not an option not to be at the gym at whatever the designated time is. Right now it's 4 a.m. So that's a huge one right now. Is the non-negotiable is getting to the gym, listening to something positive. Now that could be us listening back to this. It could be me listening to ET, something that's going to get my brain on track. most of the time I don't struggle with that at all. If I'm whipped and there's some bullshit going on and everybody has some things in their job, like it kind of helps set the tone for the day. So I would say out the gate to the gym, something positive, and then I really like to try to reflect daily on almost every day, guys. When I drive home, I can't believe it's my life.
It's awesome.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Every day I pull up to my crib and go, fuck, I really did this.
Can you believe I fucking pulled this shit
yeah,
off?
I pulled this shit off, and I'm still lifting weights, and I like my life, and I'm happy. So I feel so blessed. Every day I think that, and I probably will till I'm done.
Yeah,
dude, I feel you, and I'm starting to already feel that way myself. Obviously, doing exactly what I want. And financially, I'm not growing to the place I want to be yet, and my bank account's not. But I'm working hard towards every single day. But I legit, the same as you, G. I'm like, I cannot believe I wake up all day like. Today, like I work out in the afternoon, so I wake up this morning 5:30. I've been on my couch, I have 8. And I've been on my couch working on emails all morning. Like, dude, this is really my life. Now I'm talking on a podcast, and I think that's so cool about the podcast, and kind of why I want to have a podcast. Is because I want to share like this happiness. Like, guys, I did it, and I'm nobody.
It's possible.
I mean, I'm legit a dude from Wallsburg, West Virginia, 2,900 people. I'm a coal miner. My class rank was 253 out of 270. I was one of the supposedly one of the dumbest in the school, but it's just like I found my niche. I knew my driving force. And if I were trying to be, a school teacher, or if I was trying to be, an engineer or something, I would be failing right now. Yeah. But now that I'm doing what I want, I can't fail.
For sure.
Agree.
Dude, I feel like I'm living the dream. I'm not getting rich, like Zach just said. I'm not getting rich yet, but I can see the vision. I know what I'm working towards. But I mean, I'm full time doing online coaching now and working out and like creating content. Like, I was talking to Zach about this. My dad doesn't understand the whole concept of how to make money online. So he sees me on the couch typing and stuff, and he thinks I'm just wasting my time or not doing anything. But actually, the content is going to lead me to making more money. Yeah. So this podcast right here is going to continue to grow the brand. So that's just kind of how social media works. But I feel like I'm living the dream. And again, I'm just starting out. So it's very, very cool to see, and just kind of.
It's real cool to have something like G there to lead the way. That's what's so cool about AG. He can see his dad directly, but like we kind of had to seek out,
pave the way.
G.
Well, no, I appreciate that, guys. I think here's the key too: is what you guys have both done well. Neither of you guys live way above your means. The reason why, and this is a great takeaway for your crowd that's young. The reason why you guys are able to do what you want to do is because you haven't extended yourself so far, because I know both of you pretty well, that neither of you driving BMWs right now, just because you probably could, but just because you think, neither of you are taking on crazy payments that I'm aware of. That's why you're able, because you've kept yourself in check from an overhead standpoint, which has allowed you to make money the way you are. And both you said, we're not rich yet, but wealth is something that's what's the word I'm looking for is almost relative, because if you're making more than you're spending and you're doing what you love to do, I could argue that right now you have a percentage of wealth. It might not be to the extent that you want, but that's heading that direction. And when you're on that path and you've already felt what it feels like to do on the couch, Jay's sitting in his brand new crib, like the things that you are doing, then that becomes a percentage of wealth to me.
What's Gary Vee say about
mic drop?
What's he say? He's like,
cut it. Episode, it's over.
What does Gary Vee say? That's like how you make your money is more important than how much you make. Obviously, to an extent, you want to make a certain amount of money, but how you make your money is so much more important. That can completely apply. So we're going to wrap this up. G, what is one thing that you would want to leave the listeners with? If they only take one thing away from this podcast, what's that one thing?
I honestly think the best thing I said so far was what I just mentioned, because I think a lot of people buy into. I always talk about I ain't popping bottles on Instagram. My rap album didn't go platinum overnight. Mm-hmm. There's the daily grind. You got to have some delayed gratification. I want to drive a Benz just like the next guy. I do drive a Benz like the next guy, but it didn't happen overnight. And you got to know that you got to put some real fucking time in. You got to have some vision. You're going to have to take some knocks on the head. All of us will continue to will. But every time you get back up, like I believe you see that brick wall, you're going to climb over it, around it, dig under it, run through it. On the other side, through that adversity is usually something great. So just keep it up.
Love it.
That was
Thanks,
fire. All right,
thanks for coming on the show, man.
Where can they find you at? Drop a couple plugs real quick.
Hey, I'm getting a little bit more hype on YouTube, so check out everything's Cory G Fitness. So my site, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everything's Cory G Fitness, and obviously check out maxupformuscle.com, because we're killing it.
Dope. Well, we
So,
appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, of course, man. I got a dip. I'll see you guys later.
All right,
Peace.
see you, man.